the solution here. Just going to post what is the most difficult part of this lab so far? Okay. I'm going to start a thread. Put your answer here. I'm just asking a question. What is the most difficult part of this lab so far? So we got about 45 minutes. Looks like we got a good chunk through creating the arena. Now we're on to adding. Some have moved on to working on the fighting. And Dustin got the fighting logic done. Cool.
It's ugly, but it's there.
Okay. Well, you know, the thing is too, Dustin, I know you're into the whole gaming logic thing. Like that's your thing too. So you're going to approach that with that in mind. So you figuring out that logic, the first one figuring out the logic is almost like I assume that you would based on the direction you want to go with like creating games and such. It doesn't have to be perfect, but we'll take a look. So I'm just still waiting for somebody to like answer the, oh, I'm seeing replies here. Why am I not seeing, oh, it didn't refresh. So I'm like, why do I not see, understanding how conditional statements work in class logic, okay. Adding the gladiator to the arena, right? That was the next thing, okay. Who else? Day, Quincy, Paul, any questions? Anything that you're struggling with right off the bat?
Same as Tiffany. I kind of got hung up on adding a gladiator, like, how to go about that. And what to
Got it. Okay. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to move this over here. All right. So I'm going to start with nothing. I'll get rid of Jess here. Get the whole real the taco thing. So I'm going to collapse the gladiator. This is the gladiator where, let me see, is this one? Not a weapon. Oh, I was toying around with this, adding a, raising an argument. We were talking about before, hey, raise an argument. So this was me raising the argument, but I'm going to make this as basic as possible where we just pass in a weapon. Okay? So I'm going to collapse this now. Collapse gladiator. We don't need gladiator. I'm going to get rid of this. All right. Collapse it one more time. All right. Just make sure it still works. I didn't break it. Okay. So I have the two gladiators. And now if we're talking about the arena, right? So we want to create a class arena, right? And we end the class. We need to, the arena has a name. So we're obviously, it looks like the arena only takes from this, it looks like at this point in time, the arena only takes in one parameter, right? Or it's going to be created with one parameter and we're going to pass in one argument. So if we know that the thing needs to have something, we could say def initialize, and we could just maybe say the name that we want this thing to have, and then we can say at name is equal to name, right? I'm just kind of following this logic. New, I'm only passing in one thing. So if I'm only passing in one thing, I guess that's the only thing. So I'm going to say Coliseum is equal to arena.new Coliseum, right? I run it. Okay, I see Coliseum. Arena has a name of Coliseum. So I've kind of met that, and that's cool, but we also want it to be capitalized. So if I happen to pass it in like this, well, we don't want that. We want it to be capitalized, right? So all I have to do is capitalize, right? Now, let me see. If I just do that, will it capitalize it? Yep. So now it's capitalized. Okay. If I wanted to just pull back the name, right, like this, puts Coliseum.name. So if I p Coliseum.name, let's just see, would that return anything? Oh, method name undefined, right? Can't do that. And I can't do that because I don't have an attribute, right? Was it attribute underscore, oh my God, I forgot off the top of my head, accessor, right? Accessor, and I'm gonna say name. Now if I run this, I should get back the name, right? Here we go, name is equal to name capitalized. And so, and I think I mentioned earlier, I think I said it, I think I was talking to Mace where I didn't put the bang operator here, right? But in essence, really name is being stored inside of another variable. And so this returns the capitalized word and it stores it in name. So I don't need it to have that bang operator. Like this is some sort of permanence, but it doesn't need to be permanent because I'm actually taking this and I'm storing it in here, just like this dot name is equal to name in a constructor in JavaScript, okay? So I know that this thing is working, right? Let's keep saying give Maximus a weapon, new weapon. I want to get rid of this, give Trinius puts, that includes weapon, oh, because these should be lowercase, which is why it keeps giving them errors. So I'm just gonna do that, all right. Boom, boom, all right. Maximus Coliseum. I think Commodus is being given, includes club spear, give it a spear, else weapon is equal to spear, club. All right, let me go back to this. I just want to get the arena done first. All right, so get rid of these, all right? The second thing here, right, the arena can have gladiators. Okay, so what it looks like here is this, that the Colosseum would return an array of gladiators if I called the gladiators key, right? Which means I'm going to need a placeholder for gladiators, right? Gladiators, and I'm gonna set that to be an empty array. Now, if I want to get access to that, Colosseum.gladiators, right? If I want to do this, it's going to error out again because there is no method, which means I just have to extend this accessor, gladiators, right? Now it should just return an empty.
Got a comma.
Yeah, got to add a comma. Now it's an empty array. There's no gladiators. Okay. You can add gladiators to the arena. I'm just kind of following. So I did create a new one. Awesome. We did this already. I need to add a method that is add gladiator. And if I give it this, it should push the gladiator into the gladiators method. So here we would create another method called add gladiator, right? This add gladiator should take a gladiator, right? I'm going to end it. And it should add that gladiator to the gladiators array, right? So we can say what? At gladiators, the bang operator, I'm sorry, that shovel, that should work, right? Gladiators was an array. We're pushing something into the array. I'm just going to make sure nothing broke. Still good. Let's go to P. Let's go to Colosseum, right? Dot add gladiator. And we want to add max. I'm going to add Maximus up here. Now you can do it with the parens or you can just do it with the spaces. Either way. I kind of like the spaces. And then I am going to see what we have for our gladiators, right? So let's see. All right. Looks like I have Maximus. Looks like he's got a nil weapon. So this logic up here that I was using earlier isn't working. So diff arm with trident spear, include a weapon, else puts give me a weapon, name of the weapon. Oh, I see. This is the one where I'm forcing you to like type something in. So this is not the way I wanted to go. I want to do the other one. So let me say this one where we just give the name. Hold on one second. Where is the one that I had with the turn? Man, I got so many REPLs open right now. I think it's right here. Boom, boom, boom. World is bound. One second. Okay. I'm actually going to go to my solution that I put in the link because that's the only place that I got. I know where it is 100%. And all right. I'm going to see. This is what I had there. Just make sure. All right. So it works. Sweet. So I'm able to add this gladiator. All right. Let me go here and here so we can see. Now I need to add in another gladiator, right? So we would copy this, paste it, because we need to add, here's adding a gladiator, one gladiator, adding a second gladiator. All right, they have Titus, we have Commodus. So I'm going to say Commodus, and let's see. All right, so Commodus has a club, Maximus has a trident. Okay, so we're up to that point. Then you're on to the logic for them to fight. Okay, so at this point in time, for the arena, we have the arena code. All right, that's where I really wanted to get you. Get you to at least the arena code. Now, of this code, is there anything here that doesn't make any sense that you'd like me to explain just a little bit further?
Line 35, that little symbol in between gladiator.
Yeah, this?
Yeah.
This is called the shovel operator. So I could have done this, push. Maybe I'll just do this. I'm just going to run it, make sure it works. Yeah, it works. So that other way of doing it is just something that someone came up with in Ruby. And they were like, hey, you know what? I'd like to do it like this. Like, I don't know why they came up with it. I really don't. I don't know why they came up with this symbol to replace push. But it's just a way, you know, I don't know why they came up with 5 different ways to like run for loops, you know? They just did.
Gotcha. Okay, cool.
It's just one of those things. If you see it, you'll know what it does. I would have to research like, why is there push versus the shovel operator, right? If I was like, hey, Ruby, push versus shovel operator, like, is there a difference between array that and array push? Somebody's obviously asked this a long time ago between them, and then we can go here and just find out like what the difference is. I'm not sure. This accepts a single argument and pushes it to the end of the array. Push, on the other hand, accepts one or more arguments, pushing them all to the end of the array. There we go. That's the answer. So somebody came up with, hey, we'll just push one thing, where their push would have pushed 2. Right? If I do this, gladiators, and I add something else here, and another gladiator, gladiator 1, gladiator 2, it would have pushed it. Okay? So I'll make a note here that this pushes 1, can only add 1 element to the array. All right. What's up?
I've got a question.
Sure.
So on line 34, you take a parameter of gladiator. Where is that? Oh, I guess I was under the impression that whatever you want to, if you had a method down the line, you had to take it in during the initialization state.
Oh, no. So think of like initialization as when the thing is created the first time, you have the option to add something.
Okay.
Right? if I did include that, so here's something that some of you might have errored out. If I was like, hey, gladiators, if I did this, and I try to run this code, I'm just going to comment this out. If I try to instantiate this, and I don't pass in a second thing, it is going to error out and say wrong number of arguments. It's expecting two things. The initialize method is expecting two things. I don't want to pass in two things. Now, once again, I'm kind of following this. Like I'm walking through new, it's only passing in one thing. So that must mean I only need to pass it one thing. If you try to instantialize two of these, well, then that's going to break. Okay? You could, though, if you wanted to, you could say that gladiators was equal to an empty array. You could create default values for these things. And if I run it now, it creates it. Okay? Now, gladiators is an empty array. It already is an empty array here, but gladiators here, and then this I would say gladiators. And then this would just give me an empty array anyway. So if I passed in an array now, it would work. If I don't pass in anything, no harm, no foul. So if I was like, hey, Maximus and Commodus, I want to pass you both in at the same time. When I run this, I now have within the gladiators array right here, right? Here's the gladiators array. I actually have both of them added. Okay? But that's not what this was kind of visually displaying, right? This was just visually displaying, passing in one thing, and then calling gladiators later to see if it gave back an empty array. It was assuming that you wouldn't add this, and it was assuming that you possibly wouldn't do this, and you would set this to an empty array. That's just my assumptions from looking at how they wrote these lines of code, that's probably the sequence of events that they would have wanted. Okay?
And then, is there any, I didn't get to this part, but we need to put in some logic that you can only have two gladiators in the arena at a time.
Yes. So, in the add gladiator, right, we're immediately pushing it in, correct? So, who did come up with that logic? I'm just curious. Who came up with determining this logic right here?
I guess
Anyone?
we can do an if.
Sure. Okay, let's do that.
Gladiators dot length is less than 2, then on the push.
Sure.
Else return something that says, the arena is full.
Sure. Right. Gladiators dot push. I like that. Else. Right. Else. End. Puts. We have our two gladiators. We have two gladiators. No more are allowed. Right? I'm going to make sure it runs. I didn't break. Oh, here we go. What did I break? What did I break here? Unexpected keyword. And I think I have another array here, right? That was it. Is it telling me expected, given 1, expected 0 for new? And I have the comma here. Okay. See, I'm just working out the errors. I know where things might be. Now I'm going to add the gladiators. Right? We'll add the gladiators, and maybe we'll instantiate a new gladiator here. Right? We'll call this one Titus. Titus. Spear. And if we try to add Titus, we should get a message, right? Unidentified manner gladiator 4 pound. I'm going to make sure I didn't break anything. I'm going to get rid of this, make sure it wasn't the creation of the gladiators. Undefined method gladiators. Okay. Did I do something up here? Or did I misspell? Oh, this is gladiate. Right, it is gladiators. I'm just going to make sure that's not this. Just trying to figure out where my error is. All right, so this works. All right. Gladiator, gladiator. Okay. Colosseum, add gladiator. Let's do Colosseum dot. Oh, I see. Can anyone see what my issue was? If I run this, I get this error. Why? What am I missing?
In on line 29, right?
Yes. All right. Anytime you get this unidentified method means you're trying to access something and it doesn't know how to access it because there's no method here. So if that's the case, you got to add it as the attribute accessor. Here we go. All right. So now let's add or try to add Titus. Let's see. It's Titus. Oh, we have our two gladiators. No more allowed. And that looks like it's it, right? Here's our gladiators array, Maximus with a weapon and Commodus with a weapon. And then we've stopped it, right? That's really it. It's just, this is basic logic you would have figured out. Like, if this was JavaScript, you would have like, oh yeah. That's why when you start to learn, when you learn one coding language, you understand the thought process, right? The logic. And then it's just taking that logic and applying it in a different language, really. That's all it is. It's just a different language. All right. How are we feeling so far about this?
Better, for sure.
Okay, good. Because I don't want you to go off after this class and be like, I don't really know what the hell's going on. You know, it's almost like teaching React and you learned about passing props. I think now you could all agree passing props is probably something you could do. You probably wouldn't even need to think about it, right? Passing props in React is probably like second nature to you now. But remember when you first learned it? It was like, what the hell is this? And how do I keep passing props? And lifting state, what the hell is that? How do I run? Like all of those. This is, once again, you're just learning a new language that really, you learned all the things already. You just have to learn how to rewrite it in this language. And then you have all the benefits that it has, like capitalize and all these other things. Like I don't need parens when I have calling a method, right? Awesome. So, you know, the rest of the logic, like the winning logic, that's just ice cream on top of it. You know, that's like the cherry on top of everything. You could figure out the fighting logic and that they fought and which one. I'm more concerned that you know how to create the classes. Creating the classes to me is the thing that you need to learn how to do, right? The winning logic, that's a whole different ball game. Doesn't take too long to get through that either. But that wasn't the focus of this. I don't want to get lost down like, oh, if this beats that. Once again, it could be a whole if statement. Okay. All right. We're feeling good? Better, right? We're feeling a little better? Okay. The last thing that I do want to cover, okay, is, here we go in the lecture. There's only one more thing that I really want to cover before. All right. Is inheritance. This is something that I want to cover because I think inheritance is what you're going to see when you get to Rails. You're going to see examples of inheritance. And when you were doing React, where did you see inheritance in React? Anybody remember where you saw inheritance in React?
Wasn't that one you were passing like
State down.
grandchild or something?
All right, tell me if this looks familiar. Class app extends component. Does that look familiar?
Yep.
All right. This was the act of inheritance. You never wrote or worked with inheriting one class from another. I don't think that's something that we did in JavaScript. And the only instance that you would have been exposed to up to that point, if we didn't do it, would have been React, where the app extends components. And because we extended the component, we had things like render, right? Render was a method that came with it. We had a method like component did mount, right? These all came with the fact that we extended this React component. So we kind of inherited these things along with it. And inside of this, like the keyword this was accessible, okay? It was always accessible inside of render. But if I was to create a custom method here and write it like this, keyword, this would error out, okay? That would error, right? Any ideas why that would error? If I wrote this method and I was like this dot something or this dot set state, if I ran this in this method, why would it have errored out? Any ideas?
You don't have constructor.
Okay. Well, you don't need the constructor, but just say I put the constructor. Here, I'll put the constructor. I'll put super. Why would this still error out? Oh, and I need state, right? So this dot state. And just for the shorthand of it, I don't even need that. You could have defined it just like this, state. In React, we don't necessarily need the constructor and super anymore. But any ideas why this would have errored out? What if I wrote it like this? What if I wrote this method like that? Okay. I'm going to remove this and say here, this would error, but not this. What's the difference? Just from looking at it, who could just tell me the visual?
You got a fat arrow on the bottom one, and not
Yes.
on the top one.
Okay, so why is that? How is the bottom one going to work, but the top one would error out?
Is it because the bottom, you're setting that custom method as a function?
Well, I'm setting it as a function, right? I'm setting it as an anonymous function using fat arrow. But what if I did this? So let's just take that one step further. What if I did that? That wouldn't work. Okay? Both of these right now would need to be something like this. Custom method is equal to this dot custom method dot bind. Okay, in order for these two to work right now, I'd have to do this. I'd have to bind the method back to the actual component. Okay? Now, everything that you wrote, for the most part, any custom method that you wrote it like that. Right? You know, Ryan did that for a reason. I did that for a reason, right? This would work. What can you tell me about fat arrow? This will be a question you will get on an interview. I guarantee you. I got it on an interview. I got it on like the HR person interviewing me who didn't even know the answers. But they were writing down and recording my answers. What can fat arrow not hold on to? And it's that keyword that I kept referencing. We were learning about classes in Ruby. I was like, hey, remember this thing? This thing was like this keyword. The self keyword in Ruby is synonymous with the what keyword here?
This.
Okay. So then this, if I write this method like this and it works, that must mean that this thing written as fat arrow can't hold on to the this context. This bleeds out of it. When it's asked the question this, it's like, I don't know, let me go ask, because I was created with no context of this, so I'm going to go up one level to ask. These do not do that. I created a method here, and it kind of holds the this inside, and it's like, your context of this is what's inside of this. When you do it like this also, the function keyword holds what's inside, and it doesn't let it go. This lets it go. And so it can go up and grab the context of this. Okay? Just want to make it clear, like, because now you're jumping back and forth, and you still have to know this stuff. You're not getting away from, like, I'm learning Ruby, I can forget about all this JavaScript stuff, because you're not going to be working with as much JavaScript for the next couple of days, couple of classes. So it's really important that when you leave, this thing, this concept right here is stuck in your head for JavaScript, and it never disappears. Okay? There is a reason why you write it like this. Okay? I'm going to comment all that out so it doesn't ruin our gladiator. Okay? Whew, that was a lot. All right. I want to get through just this other little part of the lecture so that we can, here's our arena, here's our gladiator. All right. All works. Let me get rid of that. So here's our gladiator. It's all good. The last thing that I want to just kind of cover here is I'm going to go back to, where you're doing world over here. This is where I was pulling stuff from the lecture. So I'm going to actually just pull it over here, back to the lecture. Now, I'm going to create a new class, a class called animal. Okay? This is an easy one to kind of do. And the animal. Now, we know that there's animals, right? And cats and dogs are animals, right? Pretty basic stuff. Cats and dogs are animals. So I can give this animal, let's see, ATTR, I think reader will read its age. I mean, that's what it has is reading. I'm going to initialize, when I initialize this thing, initialize, right? And we're giving it a default age of 0, right? We're saying initialize, which means I'm not going to pass this thing in age, right? It just seems really weird that I wouldn't be passing in age here. I don't really like age. I want the animal to have a name. That just seems really weird. And we'll say Fido, right? Okay. Now, when I instantiate a new animal, I probably want to give it also a name as well, right? So let's just leave it like that. Remember, I don't have name here, which means I can't pass anything in. This is kind of hard-coded here, set to that. All right. So maybe, well, the age, they're changing the age. It doesn't really matter. I'm just trying to demo. I'm going to say cat. Okay. So if I instantiate a new instance of animal, let's just do this. Like if I was to say, puppy is equal to animal dot new. We can give it. Can we give it a name? Nope. But if I p puppy, let's see what happens. All right. I get Fido. Right? I didn't give it a name. I gave it Fido. Okay. But I created it. And I initialized it. And our name is equal to name. We're able to give it a name. If we wanted to extend this animal, So I just wanted to make sure puppy worked, right? So puppy did work. We're able to get this thing to create a new puppy. If I said class cat inherits animal, I'm going to end this. Here, we would have any custom methods that we want. So here's a cat. Here's the end. It makes a sound. Okay. And inside of the sound, we have a meow. Right? So it'll put a meow. Puts a meow. Okay. So now if I instantiate a new instance of cat, so I say whiskers. Whiskers is equal to cat.new. And we do whiskers. I just run this. Let's see. I get the name of the cat. Its name is Fido. We definitely don't want that, right? Want to change that. But whiskers.sound should return meow. Okay. Oh, I can see why they would put age here, right? Every animal starts at 0 and then they work their way up. So that would have probably been a better one. And you know what? I'm going to do that. I just want to change this. Age is equal to 0. And then I'll add, just so that we can see that we also inherit the methods that come with it too. Not only do we get a name and we can initialize it, but we can also do things like age is equal to age plus equals 1. All right. So now I have I'm just going to make sure this works, right? Meow, everything works. Now, if we want to increase the age, right, or we could do whiskers.age, I should get 0. Oh, age, what am I doing wrong? Age. Oh, here we go. Need the @ sign, right? This is initialization variable. All right. Undefined method age. Oh, it's not name anymore. It's age 2. All right. All right. So I get 0. Now we can increase it by saying whiskers.get older. And now if we were to do age underneath, we should see that it's increased, right, by 1. We kept doing this. If I ran this a couple of times, well then we'd see it now at 3. So when it inherits, you're just inheriting.
Joe.
Yeah.
Just, so what's the difference on line 40 where you have the reader versus the accessor? What's the difference?
So the difference between the, what was it? It was ATTR reader and ATR writer, right? Okay. The difference between these two and doing ATTR accessor, right, was this, that accessor is both of these. Reader only allows you to read. Attribute writer allows you to write. An attribute accessor allows you to do both of those things. Okay? So when we were doing age here, when we were just reading age, we're only saying that I want to return the age. That's all I'm saying. I want to be able to return the age. And then I'm creating a method that I'm using to update the age. But I think if we just did this, if I was like ATTR accessor, and let me get rid of this method here. I want to see if I get rid of that method, if I could increase the age here. So I don't have these methods anymore. If I just do age, let's see, does age return? It's 0. So age is equal to maybe 5. Whiskers.age. And let's see if it writes it. Does it? Yeah, look, now it wrote it. Okay. So maybe we could even say is equal to whiskers.age plus equals 1. Now let's see if it would increase it by 1. See? Oh, it's equal to 2. Okay? We don't need this method here. But methods are really the way that you update the variables. You should be using methods to update variables. Think of it like this. When we were doing React, could you, I don't know what just happened. In React, could I have done this? This dot state dot some val is equal to 10. Could I do that? Would you do that? And the answer is no, right? You would have done this dot set state, right? And then here I would have said some val 10, right? I mean, in React, there's a reason why. Like, this is a queuing mechanism for all of the updates coming in from everyone touching the application, right? So we need a way to be like, oh, 1 million people just clicked on the same thing, and now I have to queue up the sequence of those millions of people as they touched it, because this person's value may affect this person's value. So I don't want to push that value up, so now this one is out of sync. That's the reason you do it in React. But in Ruby also, and just in general in classes, you should have methods that mutate these values, okay? Methods should be the one that regulate these things, not the accessor going directly there. Just kind of practice. Don't do this, do reader, and then do that. That's what I would do. Make these things only readable, and if the person really wants to change the value, they have to know the behind-the-scenes method to get that done. Otherwise, people can just go and start changing variables without going through the proper channels, right? I may need something in here that checks another thing to be like, if this thing is true, then you can change the value. But allowing them direct access to the value to change it willy-nilly whenever they want, that could lead to some problems down the line, okay? And so, you know, I'm not saying React followed that, but React is a good example of not mutating the thing itself, but using another mechanism to mutate it, okay? So when we do this, we are inheriting those things, okay? And the ability to inherit is important. Now there is just one more concept that I wanted to kind of go over here when we're inheriting. I think this is it. Hold on. Gladiator. High card. All right, I think this might be. Nope, it's not the high card. The classes, and I think I'm getting close to it. Pirates Trello here. Ruby. Okay, just give me 1 sec. Ruby classes. Classes. Boston. Wanted to point out one more thing with the Ruby classes when we are inheriting them. Just one more thing. Newtonian. Here. This. Oops, classes. Yeah. No, we don't have it. Okay. So I think, like, inheritance doesn't seem so far-fetched, right? The ability to inherit isn't so far-fetched. Ruby, still looking for inheritance. Let me just make sure. Inheritance with Ruby. Just want to make sure I covered it all. If we were to do super puts, super, because we could use super here. All right, yeah, this is what I wanted to do. When we inherit this, when we construct the animal class right here, this, I'm going to give it an initialize, right? And I'm going to give it a name. Okay, this is where I was like, hey, hard coding the name here really wasn't the best thing, right? And now we're not, our thing doesn't really even have a name key to like work with. So if I give it a name and I say maybe I'm also going to put here breed. Let me do here, breed and name. Okay. Now in this animal up here, we could have, when we initialized, I could have taken in a breed, right? We have age, and I'm going to say breed is equal to breed. All right? So when I initialize this, I have to give it a breed. It's going to be 0 because an animal's born, doesn't have anything, but it has to at least be given a breed, and then we could give it a name later on. All right. Here comes this keyword that you have seen a bunch of times already. Watch this. Super. All right. So now super breed and name is equal to name. Okay. What's happening here? Can anyone explain to me what super is doing? Just by looking at what I've added here. Initialize breed, and breed is here. What's happening? What do you think super is doing? Does anyone know what super does?
Gives you access to it.
Okay. So yeah, so what super does is super is going to call like the animal class and pass it this value. It's going to run this initialize method and pass breed in so that breed can be set here, and then breed is passed down here, right? So the animal will have a class of breed also that's accessible to it, okay? We don't define breed as equal to breed here, but we need to pass it in. This gets put into here, and then behind the scenes, we would have something like this. Breed is equal to breed. But this behind the scenes is coming from here. Okay, we don't need to write it here because once this thing is created, this will ultimately find its way down here. Okay, now if I run this, let's just see, wrong number of arguments, given 0, expected 1 from initialize. Well, that's coming from the fact that animal now requires a few things, right? I can't initialize animal without giving it something, okay? So when I do initialize this, I have to give it a breed. I don't know, anybody know a breed of cat? I don't really know breeds of cats.
Tabby.
Tabby, there we go, Tabby, and we shall call our cat, once again, Whiskers, right? That's what we're doing. I'm passing in two things, the name and a breed and name. Breed is going to get passed into super, which instantializes this method here, passing it in, and name gets passed in here. And basically, this should work. Let's say, what does it say? Wrong number, given 0, expected 1 from initialize on 42. So this looks like it's broken. Let me see.
There's a typo on line 56. Initialize is spelled wrong.
Oh, that's why. Initialize, right? Okay. Okay, why is this happening now? Expected 0, initialize new on line 42. Still erroring out right here. Initialize breed, and I'm passing in breed.
Do you need to add breed to line 40 as well?
I think that's only if we wanted to read it. I mean, we can add breed. Let's just see. Maybe that was it. I don't think that's it. Yeah, I don't think that's it. Oh, I need the comma too. Don't believe. No, it's the same thing. Given 0, expected 1. It's almost like, you know what? Here, oh, do you know what it is? Look at this. This thing was causing the problem. Line 53. Line 53, I'm instantiating a new animal. I'm not passing in a breed, and so it's breaking. Okay? Now it works. And now if we do whiskers dot breed, we should get the breed. Tabby, whiskers dot name, and we should get unexpected unexpected name. So let's see what happened. Cat is taking of a name. We give it breed. That should have worked. Breed worked. I'm not sure why name did not work. Let me see. Why would it not work? Why? So close. Oh, here we go. What does this mean again? What does that mean? Undefined method name for cat. What does that mean?
You didn't do the what's that? Yeah, the attribute excess.
Exactly. So it looks like this ATTR reader name. And there we go. See, you're already putting together the pieces. You saw the errors. You know what the errors represent, right? And now you can put together where things need to go, okay? You used super all the time in React, all the time, right? Because that's what we were writing, constructor, super. We don't have to. We could just have said state was equal to, right? We didn't need super, but now you know what super does, okay? And this is important. Once again, when I went on an interview, they showed me a React component, and they said, walk me through everything that's happening, everything. So I had to explain what the constructor was doing, what super was doing, what extends did, every possible thing that that React component did, I needed to explain, all right? So this, just know, now you know that super is kind of instantiating or passing that value here. This calls the parent class and gives the parent class the value it's looking for. Okay, it's almost like we're doing, you know, animal dot new. It's almost like we're doing this tabby, but we're not. Super is similar to this, but we're not doing that really. Super kind of does that all under the hood. Okay. Okay. I know, that was a lot. I get the feeling like everybody wants it to end. Can we just make it end already? All right. I know, Mace, I know. All right, so let's do this.
And I didn't say anything.
No, you didn't have to say anything. I'm getting a general sense from everybody. I almost feel like the icon, the picture Travis is using is how everyone's feeling. The icon he's using to represent him in Zoom is like, ah, stop. All right. We're not doing any more labs because it's 4:45. But actually, let's see this. I want to see if you could do this, okay? It's a car class. I think in 10 minutes you could bang out a car class, okay? Let's try this. Because the last thing in the car class is to create a new car. I think to inherit, create a new car, run the details. Is this, I just want to see if at any point in time this is doing any inheritance. Ternary operator, method change. No, this is just creating a car class. So forget about that. That's just a basic create a car. So I'm going to say this. Why don't we take a look at what I had for the homework, okay? So I'm debating on two things with the homework, okay? The two things that I'm debating on for the homework was doing this Ruby Blackjack, okay? and it's about classes. It's about logic. It's about game logic. And once again, I think we learned that you definitely need to strengthen your algorithmic thinking. Like that hasn't gone away. You need to keep that in mind, that that's something you definitely need to keep working on. So blackjack, 2 cards, and you have to see if one person wins, or hits 21 or whatnot, right? And so there's things like there's players, there's a deck, and there's cards, and then there's 13 cards, right? 2 cards, 10 have the same face value. It's kind of walking you through what it would do, right? I think we all know what blackjack does, right? All right. What I wanted to do is this. I thought a better way to approach this, okay, was showing you a JavaScript solution to something, and then seeing if from that solution you could work out that particular logic. Is this high card? I'm just looking for the one that I had. Ripple. All right. Is this it? No. Give me a second to pull it up. Study notes. This guy. Nope. So I'm going to get rid of that because that's annoying me. Let me see. Is this? I think this was it. All right. Here we go. Here we go. All right. Here it is. This isn't blackjack. This is an easier version. This is high card. High card is just like between the deck of cards. I get 1 card. You get 1 card. Who won? I think it's a little easier than doing blackjack. And so this is just plain old JavaScript. Bunch of functions, right? Bunch of functions that do things. Don't want to break it. And I'm just trying to collapse all the functions so you can see the functions. Okay? All right. So here we go. I'm going to leave this one open. I just run it, and I get player 1 is showing the 5 of diamonds. Player 2 is showing the 5 of clubs. This card, this is the card from card to rank. So we have to rank the cards. So it has a value of 5. This has a value of 5, so it's a tie. 2 cards have a value of 5. Doesn't matter whether diamonds, clubs, spades. Your value is 5. I'm going to run it again. All right. Player 1 has 3 of diamonds. Player 2 has 4 of diamonds. The cards to rank pull out their values, and player 2 wins. I'll run it one more time. Same concept. Okay? So this thing is written in functional JavaScript. Functions everywhere, right? What if I was to take this in JavaScript? Once again, I'm just trying to emulate so that you know. And I turned it into something like a class. So this was a JavaScript class. I didn't migrate the solution over. If I had a class and I had all these methods, I would still need to know how to run those methods. Right? I'd have to run the methods, build the deck, deal the cards, announce the winner, announce cards, announce winner. These were the 4 steps that were happening here. Right? This, announce the cards, and announce the winner. Those were the things that were happening there. Okay? Could you, and that's why I think this may be easier because you have a working JavaScript solution. Like this thing works. Can you take this thing that already works, and so you don't have to struggle with logic? Because I don't want you to struggle with the logic. I don't want you to struggle, period. But I want you to work through how would I convert something into a Ruby class, knowing that there's this logic here, knowing that I know how to write a class already in JavaScript. Can I take that logic and convert it into a Ruby specific class, a game class in Ruby? All right. So I'm going to leave it open. What kind of questions do you have? I'm going to share this in just a little bit. I think this Ruby Blackjack might just be pushing the envelope. It might be a lot harder to work on that than to give you a solution in JavaScript to something that's just comparing 2 cards instead of 4 cards, right? The combination of 4 cards, which to me just adds to the complexity. What does everyone think?
Sounds good. Where are you going to post the solution? For
Oh,
JavaScript?
I'm going to, hold on one second, because I was coming up with another, let me just make sure it's, hold on. I was going to push it up. I was just looking. Git status. Let me see. Git add. Git commit m. All right. So I just pushed up to homework. I pushed up the high card. So here's the high card directions. Okay. And I have the JavaScript starter code here. High card starter. This was that kind of class-based starter code. And towards the bottom, I have the JavaScript. I have them both, starter code and solution code is right here. And so this is the JavaScript. Oh, this is the wrong one. Hold on. I don't want the one that prompts you. I want this one, right? Okay. So let me just edit the README file. I'll push this back up. JavaScript high card solution. All right. I'm also going to add this solution to the very top. Here, let's take a look at the JavaScript starter and JavaScript solution and think. All right, here we go. Git add commit and updates. Git push. All right. Let's give it a second. I'm pushing it up. All right. I think it was here. Go back one. I'm going to refresh. And there we go. I go back here. Here's the starter code. Here's the solution code. Right? Starter, solution. Now, once again, the starter code is what I would have converted it into a JavaScript class. I didn't finish it. I didn't migrate anything over. And the solution code is written as functional JavaScript. Okay? But the fact that you know classes, you know that a method is just a function. And so taking this code and sticking it in there requires just a handful of tweaks. And I should be able to get it. Okay? And so I'm thinking high card is the better option of the two. So I'm going to say, let's take a look here. Poll. Which homework do you prefer? High card or blackjack, right? Boom. Just slacked it out. Slack out the survey. High card, high card, high card, high card. Yeah. Once again, blackjack is going to be there. If you want to work on blackjack, by all means. I mean, the concepts are the same too, right? Players are going to get a card. In blackjack, just give them 2 cards. You still need to create a deck of cards. You still need to shuffle the deck of cards. You need to winning some logic there. So I think if you do high card, you'll get blackjack no problem. So I would say, you know, Ryan, do high card, so at least we have one homework. And then if you get the logic for high card, just go ahead and do blackjack. It's just that easy. Okay? I guess, you know, I'm going to ask the question now too, because I want to know, how long do you think it would take you to solve this? So how many hours to solve a high card? Okay? Because I always want you to be thinking this way now. 2, 3, 2, 4, 6, 6, forever. All right. How many hours do you think? 2, 4, 6? Like Chrissy's playing it safe. She's like, 6 and plus, give me more. Not forever, but definitely 6 or more. All right. All right. What I would suggest, the first thing that I would suggest in doing this, you start really, really small. You create a method, you create a class, and that class does something like it's a game class. So if I had to start this off, let's just say I was starting this off really, really basic. I mean, you'll do it, in a Ruby file. I just like the REPLs. I would say something like, oh, here, I'm going to say class game, and then I'm going to end it. Okay. Should my class game take in anything? I don't really know. I think from here it looks like everything is inside of the thing. So I don't necessarily think I need to take in anything because everything's inside of this constructor. So that to me would mean if I went back and had to do this, I would probably just set the initializer like def initialize, right? I'm not going to pass in anything, but I'm going to set all these things. Look at this. I could just copy this and go, bloop, right? There is no this dot values. There is at values. There's no this dot suit. There is at suits. There's no this dot deck. There is at deck. Not this dot players. There is at players, and this has to be equal to, right? This has to be equal to, and this at hands is equal to, right? That's it. I don't need these commas. I don't need semicolons. I'm not putting semicolons. I'm getting rid of commas. Boom. Now I'm just going to say, I don't know, high card is equal to game.new. This is Ruby, right? Is it airing? Yeah. Easy enough, right? I'm able to just create the thing, a real basic thing. Okay? I would start small like that. Now that I have it, oh, you know what? I want to see that I can get just the deck. So maybe I'll do attr reader, and I'll say, I don't know, values. Cool. High card dot values. Can I get the values? Look, I get the values. Oh, this is great. I get the values, right? Okay, and then I would start creating a method. Like the first method would be to build the deck. Def build deck end. I'm in here. All I'm going to do is put the fact that I could see at values, right? Can I see at values? So I'm going to say, hey, build deck, and does this just give me values? See? I'm just baby stepping it. I'll loop over values and output them, and then I'll do a nested loop to loop over this to build a deck. That's the logic you need. But that logic to build a deck is right here. Here you go. Here's the logic. Can you convert that logic into Ruby logic? Yes, you can. That's up to you. But you can do it, and you have it in front of you on how to do it. So I can't like give it to you, but it's right there. Okay? All right. Sweet. Yeah. Dustin, it wouldn't take you forever. Come on. That's crazy talk. That's crazy Dustin talk. All right. We're good? Feeling okay?
Peachy.
Peachy. Right? I haven't seen everyone in like 2 weeks, and I come in and I'm like swinging. We're getting crazy today. But these are important concepts that you have to know before you start learning Rails. Okay? You have to understand how to work with Ruby classes. They're really important. Awesome. Okay, so I'm just going to say exit tickets, fill out an exit ticket, and yeah, you have what you need. Good luck. If you have issues, Slack me. If you do Slack me with something, Slack me on a REPL. so I could just take a look at the REPL. I don't want to download anything. I don't want to look at code. Slack me something so I can easily run it, see the error message, and then I can try to work through it. Okay? All right. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday. And I'll post the videos in a bit.
Thanks, Joe.
You got it. Shall end it. Bloop. Stop to share in the meeting.